Hey dudes, it's me, Mighty the Armadillo here once again. And I'm the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here. We are from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Super Mario 3D World, plus Bowser's Fury for the Nintendo Switch. So last time we basically just managed to accomplish World 6, and now today for this episode is the fact that we are moving on to the next world in this game, which appears to be by the forms of World Castle, or should I say World 7, because this is the 7th world in the game, and eventually by that point in time, then we'll try to able to rescue the final Sprinkly Princess until the game is pretty much saved. Although, is it though? Because although, for those of you who ever watched our Let's Play of the original Wii U version of the game before, you know exactly how this goes. So either way though, let's begin with the forms of the Fire Bros Fort. I think that's what the actual level itself is called anyway, even though we said this completely opposite because I wasn't paying attention. But I digress. So today's day is of course the 18th of August today, in this case in 2021 today. And it looks like that today, that marks the forms of the next presentation that has actually been released today. That's what it appears to be by the forms of the Pokemon Presents Direct. Although we would like to able to mention something more briefly about the forms of that particular presentation, but unfortunately though, we're gonna have to wait until specifically on Friday that we'll talk more about it by then. So because of that, not much else to talk about apart from that. Oh wow, that was actually kind of a close call right there, because I almost assume that we almost gonna get ourselves screwed over for a bit, while the actual ball just almost somehow roll off in the edge of that particular flip panel. But it turns out that it does somehow manage to survive for that balance, so I guess that's that. So yeah, this place is gonna be filled to the brim with those Fire Bros as you saw. Yeah, especially noticeable because that's what the main emphasis on this level is all about, that it's gonna be you know, a whole bunch of Fire Bros every once in a while, and as well, so now we need to avoid a lot of, like, blue lava here and there, because again, if you touch those, then you instantly die. So, and as far as I've noticed, that whenever I researched back on the forms of the E3 2013 trailer of the Wii U version of Super Mario 3D World game, that I realized is the fact that back in the day, they managed to obviously use the orange flame, or the orange lava, but it turns out in the final version of Super Mario 3D World, plus the Switch version as well, that it's all in like blue flames, which is actually kind of cool. They even then note that it might actually feel kind of weird for able to actually look back in the E3 trailer back in the day, for likely like 8 years ago. So yeah, it seems kind of odd considering, but at least that's sure it's something. So yeah, and as you can see, that we actually did manage to did the stage no problem, especially noticeable about the fact that since after all that, well, despite the fact that it's been 2 days ago since we actually last touched this game, because obviously we mainly played Super Mario Maker 2 in our own time to try to able to create some more stages every once in a while, and all that stuff. So even then though, let's go ahead and switch over to Luigi in this level. So of course we're going to be going onto this level as a top-down perspective, which yeah, it feels very similar to one of those levels in Super Mario 3D Land, for the sake of the forms of that particular Zelda reference, if you're trying to able to lit up those specific lanterns as you notice. So, I digress. So, but anyway, oh dang it, I just somehow missed that particular switch I need to activate, but at the very least we did manage to activate it. So anyway, and of course though we do need to lit up those these little lanterns here, just in case, for the first green star, despite the fact that we got hit by those spiny shells. But that's okay, because even then we'll try to get our spare Fire Flower like that, even though we're still able to save our Super Leaf power-up until specifically later on, whenever we move on to the next level. So either way though, we'll try to able to activate those couple of switches here and there, so just in case we can able to progress. So, oh jeez, that was close. Anyway, another thing I just want to explain is the fact that usually there's one little thing we forgot to mention about, that will have to be buddy forms about. Well, actually, there's actually two things we forgot to mention, and that was the fact that, first of all, recently, during about a couple of days ago, we actually got ourselves our new version update for the likes of Super Smash Flash 2. well, to be more specifically, if you're trying to able to download the game, and then trying to able to play it at any time. Well, to be more specifically, because obviously, unfortunately, you can't play the game anymore on certain, like, you know, Safari websites or Google Chrome or anything else like this, sadly, because of that particular Adobe Flash player is now expired, which is kind of sucks if you ask me, especially noticeable for those who ever try to able to play the game for the first time, likely for able to try to type in the actual, like, you know, Super Smash Flash 2 and stuff like that, but either way though, as far as the new updates they actually revealed, that is the fact that with several improvements, mainly for like the new sprite animations between the forms of, well, let's just say for instance, that the new animations for, I would classify for saying like Waddle Dee and Bandetta Waddle Dee, as well as Isaac from the likes of Golden Sun, and as well as some new animations here and there as well for certain characters. In addition to the forms of the Sandbag is also getting its new animations and all that stuff. So yeah, that seems pretty cool. Yeah, especially noticeable rather than just becoming like stilted, unlike the forms of how it does it on the previous year's updates and stuff like that. And also, during around that time, though, is the fact that we actually got ourselves new footage of several Final Smashes between the forms of Ganondorf, which appears to be become more accurately like Beast Ganon, very similar to the forms of how it does it in, well, to be more specifically based off from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and especially noticeable with Super Smash Bros. 4 for the Nintendo Wii U and 3DS. And also we got ourselves our first look at the forms of the Final Smash for Crystal from the likes of the Star Fox series. And that, she actually got herself the Fire Burst Pod. So yeah, that seems kind of cool looking, especially noticeable that it almost decimates any other opponents, which is pretty satisfying if I do say so for myself. And also, in addition to those, you know, new Final Smashes for certain fighters that, basically, they actually added in some new features, including a new stage, which, let's get to the new feature first, and that's what appears to be based off from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that is, of course, the Final Smash meter, which I believe every time you get hit, or specifically if you manage to able to, like, pull off certain combos, and shoot, I did not mean to do that. Well, that's only mainly because I'm still trying to go into a speedrun tactic, like, obtain a stamp, but unfortunately though, we somehow accidentally, well, leave the door by complete accident. But, oh well, no big deal. But at least we can able to get ourselves our next stamp based off from the 6th, Sprinkly Princess. So, yeah, that seems totally obvious. So, yeah, anyway though, so let's go ahead and move on to the next level, which is supposed to be right here, while we, at the same time, we managed to activate one of those pipes that we can able to entering into. Yeah, that'll be until for later. But anyway, and another thing they actually did manage to point things out for the Super Smash Flash 2 update, and that is the fact that, oh yeah, I forgot about the forms of another new Final Smash from Ichigo, from the likes of the Japanese anime character, and that, I think, fundamentally speaking, I'm pretty darn sure that his new Final Smash for Ichigo is, if I can find it quickly, even though it has been a while since we actually did manage to research on things. Oh yeah, his new Final Smash is called, Mogetsu, which, I don't know if I usually pronounce that name very well, but I must admit that I do apologize for that. And, also, they did manage to reveal the forms of, well, the new stage, as we already mentioned, and, this stage was actually based off from Rayman 2, or should I say Rayman 2 The Great Escape, because obviously that, well, Glowbox was actually in the forms of Rayman 2 The Great Escape. So as a result, though, that the stage is actually based off from is actually known as Fairy Glide, or Glade, or Fairy Glade, as far as I like to pronounce that. So even then, though, for we've seen a stage so far, despite we haven't tested it out yet, but hopefully we will can at some point later on today. So as a result, though, that seems pretty cool looking. Yeah, especially noticeable that we can able to actually see Glowbox, the blue Glowbox, as far as I like to, specifically trying to able to actually just to get more specific for that time. In fact, have you guys ever played any other Rayman games? Because even then though, that I've actually did manage to like, you know, we still managed to got the main platformers when it comes to Rayman games and all that stuff. In fact, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. What was your first ever Rayman game you actually ever played in your life? Do you ever play the original Rayman game, despite it's like purely difficult for that game? Or potentially speaking, there was Rayman 2 The Great Escape, which happens to be the best Rayman game ever made. Like, we actually got about 3 versions of it so far, despite we actually missing on the N64 version due to the forms of the cartridge limitations, or we missing out on the PlayStation 1 version with this very superior voice acting. In fact, we might able to try to get the PlayStation 1 version eventually, so that way we can able to actually play the game proper, because the only thing it's worrying about us when it comes to the Dreamcast version is that, again, as far as we already established that several times already, that sometimes our Dreamcast can be a bit temperamental sometimes when it comes to, like, you know, the most common problem is, of course, the random resetting problem. So because of that, usually because unlike, well, the Mega Drive, as well as the forms of, well, the Sega Saturn, that those consoles do have their reset button on the console, but not so much on the Dreamcast, sadly, because I just really wish if they were able to have a reset option, or the reset button as its own button, so that way it doesn't cause that much problems with it. Although, to be fair though, Ray, is that obviously we've already got the reset buttons between, let's just say, both the NES and Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Nintendo 64, and Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Wii, and I don't know about the Wii U though, just because I'm pretty sure that the Wii U doesn't have the reset option, so yeah, I'm also able to thought about that, so. Oh, and also say it applies to the forms of the DSi that also has a reset function, but even then though, I somehow managed able to get screwed over with this particular boss fight right there. It's mainly because, oh man, there's so much going on the forms of the entire battle like this, but hopefully we'll try this again, but thankfully, at the very least, that we actually got back into its regular form, so yeah, that should be something, so. Anyway, the next thing we would like to discuss upon is the fact that, yes, we actually got ourselves some more info when it comes to the Sonic movie sequel, which should be on next year. And that's what appears to be by the fact the matter is, though, is that we actually revealed ourselves our new voice actor for the sake of the films of who's going to be playing as Knuckles the Echidna in the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie. And that's what appears to be, Idris Elba. So that seems a pretty cool, fella for the actual voiceover for Knuckles, and he also did the likes of the forms of several other like TV shows that he usually did done, and that is the forms of The Wire, as well as the forms of The Lifer, and movies such as No Good Deed and Perfect Ram, and the Thor trilogy, surprisingly enough, and the most recent release, which is the forms of The Suicide Squad, the 2021 version, not the not that dreadful, the 2016 version, because the problem with the 2016 film, it's really rough. Yeah, as far as I would able to actually classify from noticing this from the start, despite, you know, we haven't seen the film that much though, because obviously that, I think to us though, is the fact that from what I've heard about the new Suicide Squad film, it's definitely a lot better than the films of how it does on the 2016 film, pretty much. So, yeah, you probably get the gist of it, so. Anyways, let's go ahead and take down this familiar boss fight, ever since the films have been, specifically ever since in World 6 again, but except now he was actually in, like, has some blue, soft parts on top as opposed to red, so. But obviously that, we managed to take down, like, no sweats whatsoever, so, yeah, that should be a little bit more, well, cool and all that stuff though. Even then though, that, we really do apologize if our commentary once again gets a little bit iffy again, because, well, yet again, that our computer starts to lag again. Especially, it doesn't make it that much better, especially noticeable how the fact that we were gonna be able to try to go ahead and try to fix this somehow, but it still keeps on lagging all of a sudden, which as a result though, this means that the only thing that's kind of worrying for us though is the fact that every time whenever we do some commentary every once in a while, then sometimes that our commentary gets a bit fuzzled up at points, but thankfully it still works though, especially noticeable that our USB connecting device is still working, so there's nothing panicking at this point in time, so I digress. So either way though, and also, as far as I've realized about something, is the fact that something we would like to mention, that during the course of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, that we've already mentioned about the fact that with Sonic and Tails being playable and stuff like that, apparently someone on the YouTube channel just able to constantly manage to put up with the forms of these little videos on the forms of several levels that's being remade. And for what I've seen, the most of those familiar levels from the likes of the old school Mario, no, not Mario, the Monkey Ball games, as far as I like to, point things out, that, basically they're all beautifully made with the new forms of the HD quality and stuff like that, which, I will say, it is, like, super top-notch, all things considered. Yeah, especially noticeable is the fact that with the actual HD upgrades, as well as from that though, with a much more impressive, like, impressive quality, all things considered. And as you can see right there, we're getting chased by the forms of that, I would say an instant kill, toxic gas, as far as I'm concerned. So as a result though, that we need to make our way out of there, just in case we don't want to die. So yeah, and in fact the matter is though, is the fact that we pretty much already finished the level. So thankfully our, you know, the video footage is now in a normal speed now, rather than just completely lagging all of a sudden. So at least that we got that problem solved. But at least we still mainly consider about the fact that until specifically on this Friday, we definitely need to still fix this somehow. Or maybe it's because every time whenever we do some bit of editing skills for the sake of the, you know, the HD videos and all that stuff though, maybe that's what's causing it. Oh yeah, I was thought about the same thing too, so. Anyways, let's move on to World Castle 6, Rammerhead Reef. So yeah, this is the level we get to most likely get out to swim at all times, so hopefully we should be able to try to avoid, you know, a lot of hazards in between, and also just try to avoid those little enemies like so. But yeah, there's not much else we can talk about this, I'm afraid, because obviously that we've already mentioned quite a lot of stuff ever since on Monday, and especially noticeable about the fact the matter is though, is that we actually like almost getting close to the forms of the point where that we've pretty much almost nearly at the end of, oh, are you kidding me right now? Oh, what's the matter, Ray? The thing, it keeps lagging all the time, which, as a result though, it's just that I think there might be something to do with, like, there's so much going on screen or something, although maybe it's because of something else, even though despite the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, we have that program for quite a long time now, ever since any forms of likely for about 6 years ago, which is of course Rockstar Game Capture HD Pro, although some people seem to able to go after the forms of a much more better like capture cards every once in a while, likely for instance the actual 60 frames per second capture card devices, which we would have wished if we were able to try to get that, but it's a bit pricey at the moment, so because of that though, I think we should be okay for Rockstar Game Capture HD Pro from now on, so, but you know, you get the idea about that, so either way though, we'll just, go ahead and carry on, just continue things on for this, this particular segment's worth noting for, especially noticeable after, like, well, you know what I'm saying, so, and also another thing too is the fact that recently we also managed to win back into Super Mario Sunshine on our own time on the Nintendo Switch version because we're still on summer. So I believe we're pretty much almost at the halfway point on that Super Mario 3D All-Stars version of Super Mario Sunshine. In a halfway point nonetheless, especially noticeable that since that summer is almost getting close towards the end, until specifically next year, in the forms of 2022, and the fact of the matter is though, is just the fact that, well, we just always love to play Super Mario Sunshine when it gets like summery and stuff like that, so And also we did manage to play Kirby Mass Attack on our own time for a bit, and sure, it might take a bit of a while to get used to with the controls and all that still though, even though as far as what Sonic has already mentioned about this ever since in Donkey Kong Country 3 Let's Play so far. And speaking of such though, is the fact that it looks like that Sonic is pretty much at the halfway point so far anyway, for the sake of Donkey Kong Country 3 Let's Play. So because of that, once you are pretty much going to be able to try to keep on uploading you know, Donkey Kong Country 3 by that time until every Tuesdays and Thursdays, then we should probably get that game finished by the time until, likely, we still got plenty of time to able to actually finish some bits of Let's Plays in particular. Well, at least for you, Mighty, though, that you know, almost finishing up with Mario Party 5, and then Sonic will hopefully almost try to finishing up with Donkey Kong Country 3. And as for us, though, for me and you, Mighty, that we might not get this Let's Play done until specifically eventually later on throughout the whole entire year, because obviously that again, we'll discuss more details about this specific stuff until specifically when if we finish up with Super Mario 3D World game on this particular Let's Play of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury Let's Play. So, and also we would like to point things out is the fact that I think during the forms of yesterday that we actually did manage to able to have some significant changes to our channel, likely for New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U Let's Plays. We figured I was able to actually combine those two together within a singular playlist, because very similar to the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Galaxy / Super Luigi Galaxy playthrough on the Nintendo Wii version of the whole entire thing. And as a result, though, that we figured I was able to do the same thing for New Super Mario Bros. U / New Super Luigi U. So as a result, though, or should I say, New Super Mario Bros. U plus New Super Luigi U, because we figured I was able to actually just count that. Yeah, especially noticeable because obviously that we could potentially try to able to have like some differential stuff. So, and as you can see, we've gone back into the Captain Toad level ever since in World 5. So, and I'm pretty sure that every single time whenever we get into those specific odd numbered like worlds and stuff like that, there might be a few exceptions though, but even though no, it's kind of hard to explain sometimes because I know it has been, you know, quite a few days since we actually did manage to come back into this particular game throughout, so. But I digress. And it looks like that so far that we've pretty much almost nearly at the end. For the sake of the forms of, well, to be more specifically, we've almost ended off with the, well, World Castle and stuff like that. Before we move on to the forms of, well, possibly the main final world of the game, assuming if you want to able to try to count the special worlds until in the future. Well, there might be still 4 special worlds throughout the whole game, Mighty, because obviously, like the Wii U version of the game, then, you know, it might actually contain some of the exactly the same levels as before on the original Wii U version counterparts. And, oh, really? Our internet connection's going off. But hopefully we'll try to fix that at some point as well. So, anyway, so let's move on to the, let me double check on the checklist. Okay, so we got 2 levels left, so, yeah, well, once that's been done, then we're basically moving on to the next level. So, Shimmering Lava Lake. So, of course, we'll select Peach on this one, so because of that, though. Now, if we've seen the actual, like, some bits of video clips for, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, thanks to the forms of one of those YouTube channels called, Sharon. And, I gotta say, for what I've seen the actual footage on Banana Mania, it's so gorgeous. Yeah, especially noticeable about the fact that, you know, any other recognizable environments is now in full in HD and stuff like that, or should I say remastered. So because of that though, it looks super impressive this time around. Yeah, which I will say though, it is a, you know, still our most hyped games for the sake of the forms of, well, just trying to able to actually go for that stuff. So either way though, we can able to expect this much, so. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue things on here, and of course that we still need to try to avoid those little, you know, some lava monsters every once in a while, because obviously if you dare touch them, then, well, to be more specifically though, Mighty, is the fact that it only happens at the very end of the level, that basically if you somehow manage to get touched by them, then basically you instantly die at the end, so. which as far as I'm noticing that, at least as far as I'm concerned. So, anyways, I don't think we can get that step down here from the get-go, because obviously the main emphasis on the stage is the fact that every time at some point or another, that the lava starts to rise, and then sometimes it lowers. So, yeah, that's the whole entire purpose of this level we are dealing with here, Mighty. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get our Boomerang flower with us, so just in case we can able to, dang it, okay, whatever. That's okay though, because after all, we got ourselves the third and final green star, and, well, before we end off the level right there, first of all, we need to get ourselves our good running start, because if you don't get a good enough running start though, you are basically going to get doomed from the start. So, yeah, that's something worth classifying for noticingness. Okay. Oh, jeez, I don't want to mess this up, because unlike in the Wii U version of the playthrough, that basically, the only thing we really can't afford to do is the fact that if we somehow mess this up with the actual golden flagpole runs, that basically, that every time whenever you failed on those specific objectives like that, sometimes we have to revisit the exact same level again, but except the fact that we can able to deal with, like, the golden flagpole every once in a while. So, yeah, that might be something we'll classify for noticing this. So, alright, so we're basically approaching on to the last level in World Castle, and that we still need able to get even more green stars until we're able to unlock this, and this will pretty much lead us to the next the castle level. So because of that though, it's been such a long while since we actually went into a castle level, at least ever since in well, in World 5? I'm pretty sure it's in World 5, so, and it's a good thing we do manage to able to still have ourselves the cat power-up on our inventory box, because one of those green stars is required to able to use the cat power-up. So, yeah, hopefully we'll try to do that. Whilst unlike the Wii U version of the playthrough, oh, son of a biscuit, I really hate these Boomerang Bros sometimes. I really still do. But anyway, let's just go ahead and continue things on here. And of course, now we still need able to use these little football-like bombs to able to destroy those blocks. And of course, before we get into more details about that, let's go and get our green star. And of course, we'll grab the stamp as well. So we'll try to deal with all that. And we'll try to able to actually make things as quickly as possible. And we'll try to save our Boomerang flower for the third and a final green star. Whilst usually, relatively speaking, it doesn't matter if you're able to actually die on this particular level like this, especially noticeable thanks to the forms of the saving progressioning system. So as a result though, that if you somehow die in a boss fight, that's basically that you don't need to worry about the forms of trying to able to re-grab the collectibles again. So unlike New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe though, that basically that you still need to able to re-grab those, you know, those star coins again, because obviously that it doesn't have any like save system with that. So, oh well, no big dealio, but hey, at least we can able to see Bowser again with this awesome wicked car again, ever since in World 1, except it's actually now a lot prettier, and also that it has like something like a neon feel to it though, like those neon lights and stuff, but obviously the actual battle remains the same, so basically we're gonna have to able to once again kick the football bombs right back at Bowser, and then that way it'll deal the damage. Now, here's something that we totally did not realize, is that if you try to use the cat form, or the cat power-up, I should probably point things out right away, that you can able to actually just try to able to kick or sweep the actual football bomb for almost like in a good little height right there, which you'd probably know until whenever we able to get our, okay, there we go, and trying to sweep it up, and boom, that will deal a bit of an extra damage right there. That way you can able to deal with the fight a lot easier than the normal attempt by either using the any kind of power-up or anything else like that. So there's the final hit right there, and he's done for good. And thankfully we did this on the quicker time right there. Not the fastest in the world though, but at least we did somewhat a bit quicker than the I don't know if I think that Sonic or Sylvester has done this method, but even then though, it's kind of hard to look back on it sometimes, because even then though, that we pretty much used to with the Switch version every now and then, because it's more of a definitive version of the game in my opinion. So Anyways, let's grab some extra time, so just in case we can able to see, you know, just to able to add up some more time there. And also, we can definitely save the final Sprinkly Princess, which is, of course, the red color Sprinkly Princess. And, of course, we get ourselves our glorious, top-notch, golden flagpole, like always. So, and there we go, we basically done, not only we've managed to rescue every single Sprinkly Princesses, and also we've completed Walled Castle. But of course, the game is not over yet, because obviously, as I said, like the Wii U version of the game, basically if you think this is done, well, it's not over yet. Because Bowser's not gonna give up. And he got a giant container jar, and he managed able to carry away with it. And somehow we need to make our way up there somehow. Yeah, and by all means by that, it's the fact that since that, of course we got ourselves the next stamp, which is actually based off from Burrowing Mario, so I guess that's sure it's something. So, yeah, we're basically done with this whole world. And like any forms of the beginning portion of the game, sometimes we're on panic mode, so this means we have to able to, well, get up there somehow. And what do I mean by that? We need to hop into the forms of that particular sparkly, clear pipe, and that will pretty much lead us to the final, main world, if you want to don't count the forms of the special worlds. That's what appears to be this amazing amusement park. Yep, filled to the brim with like a lot of bright lights and colorful nature. Well, at least as far as I'm usually concerned, it always reminds me of Tropical Resort from Sonic Colors, but anyway. So, suffice to say, we got the endings up here, so join us next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. That is the fact that we're hitting on to the forms of World Bowser, aka World 8. So, we'll see you guys on Friday. Yep, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.